Hello once again, witchy people. It's early hours of the morning yet again, and I did actually make this video last night, but I had to remake it because, oh, you don't want to know why. No makeup, my hair was in braids, it was night time, I couldn't sleep. Anyway, the video today is 20 questions, and I got this from the Barefoot Taurus. She got it from someone else. Right, the dog's trying to jump up on the chairs. Oh, dog has jumped up on the chairs. So yes, I saw the cows. She got it from someone else. So I shall link her video below and their video. Now this is going to take me about 20 minutes, I think. So I had to write the questions down. So number 1, what is your spiritual practice and what inspired you to start one? I'm a hedge witch. I can say it now. What inspired me was the way I was raised. Very much with the supernatural, folklore, nature. Yeah, it was just the way I was raised, so I kind of grew into it. I wasn't born a witch because my parents always said that religion or the path that you choose should be something that you choose. So I was never baptised, I was never christened, anything like that. Because my father especially wanted me to choose something that was unique to me, and I sure as heck did. Number 2, what have you learned most about in your practice? Sadly, what I've learned most about in my practice is who you can trust and who your real friends are. Because if you're slightly different, as many pagans, witches will know, people will either be out and out rude and disrespectful of your choices to your face, or worse still, behind your back. So you find out, on the other hand, you find out the best in people. You find the best and the worst in people, but you also find out who your true friends are. That's what I've learned most in my practice. So if you could study about any other practice, what would it be and why? Within the pagan community, I would study Druidry because it fascinates me. I think true Druids have such an awesome respect for the land and obviously trees and such like. Yeah, so Druidry, because it does fascinate me. Outside of paganism, it would be Judaism. Yes, I have my own Torah. This is my father's. So yes, partly the reason why I would choose to be a Jew is, one, because it's in my family. A lot of my family were Jewish on my father's side. Secondly, so I've got to find somewhere to put this safe now. Secondly, because I love their attitude towards life. You know, it's like, oh, we're on a spot of bother, we're having a war, let's eat and have a party. You know, oh look, you know, life is good. We just won a war. Sit, eat, we'll have a party. And a lot of the feeling of Judaism is you are only here once. You get one stab at this life. So bloody enjoy it while you can. And I like that attitude. I mean, my father always used to say to me things like, he said a lot of things to me, which I don't repeat. But there was one, he said that you must treat your fellow man, woman, your fellow humankind as you would want to be treated yourself, and say any good things. You can think what the heck you like, but you can't say it because you don't want to hurt people. But what goes on in here is yours. And I like that as well. Okay, number 4. What do you find most challenging about your practice? Once again, it's other people's attitudes, I think. That was most challenging. Now, it's not necessarily about my practice. It is the fact that I can no longer retain information like I used to. And it's not to do with my age. It's because of a problem I have with my brain. It's kind of like dementia. The blood flow to my brain isn't very good, and the veins are dying, basically. So I may become quite doolally, more doolally than I am now. So I have a problem retaining information, but that's what notebooks are for. So number 5, if you have a significant other, I do they know about your practice? They do. How do they feel about it? Colin, my husband. All right, Barclay, hold on. The dog wants to jump up on the chair. So Colin, my husband, we've been married, it'll be nearly 25 years. There you go. Jump up then. Jump. There we go. Hello. We've been married nearly 25 years, and at first I think he was intrigued by me being a witch. Then he tried to kind of help me by buying things, and then he kind of like took the mickey out of it slightly, in a nice way, kind of like, because he's familiar with it and he knows how far he can put it. It's just the kind of person he is. He takes the mickey out of everything. But the reason I think he is so okay about it all is because he's a pagan at heart. He's tried religion, and paganism's the way for him. So number 6, what do you want to learn most about your practice? Everything. I want to learn everything. I don't think there is ever a time when you can stop learning. There's always something new to discover, and the world's forever growing. We're forever finding new places, new things. We're connecting to more people than ever. So you can always gain that knowledge, and if you're lucky, you can always relate that to your practice. So, Barclay, stop it. I need to read this. My handwriting's bad enough as it is without you licking the paper. Number 7, what other areas of your practice do you want to learn more about? I think it would be some of the more unusual herbs that aren't native to the country I grow in. And I know that's kind of not needed in my practice, but on the other hand it is, because if I can get hold of it, which I can, and I feel like I want to use it, then maybe I should. I'm into herbs a lot, and oils and aromatherapy and all sorts, but herbs especially I do love. Yes, Barclay. Number 8, what about your spiritual practice interests you the least? I'm with Raquel on this one. If it doesn't interest me, I tend not to have anything to do with it. I think what interests me the least really is, and it's not necessarily about my practice, it's about witchcraft in general, is some of the backbiting that goes on. My practice is better than yours, and I'm doing it the right way and you're not. And I think we all need to forget about that. Most of us are grown up, and we don't, if we ever did do that, we don't do it now. Barclay, sit. So yeah, there is that. But there's always more to learn about, always. Right, number 9, your top 3 favourite books about your practice. Only 3. Okay, I've got to pick 3 out of this lot. Okay, 3 favourite books. One of these. It's either Old Wives' Lore, Old Wives' Tales, or Black Cats and Evil Eyes. I think I quite like this one, Black Cats and Evil Eyes. It's all folklore and myth and old wives' tales, but I also like this one because it's got some really lovely old-fashioned remedies in it. So that's one. Classic as fun. It's books about folklore. Secondly is this one, which is The English Year. which tells you about every single day of the year and about old customs, superstitions, mythology that's attached to those days. Going back, it's not. It gives you the Christian versions of it, like, say for instance, Candlemas, which was on the 2nd of February, and also tells you if it has pagan roots, the pagan roots. So I like this one, The English Year, and that one's by Steve Roud. Now then, what do I choose next? One of my favourites has to be, and I know it sounds really weird, this is all my spiritual practice books, but it is The Good Ghost Guide. It's another one, because it tells you a little bit about almost every major haunting in the country, and you know, I've got a whole pile of books here that I could show you. I've got old ones, and I've shown you these before, herbal remedies and books of herbs, which are like printed in the 50s. I also have, this is another one of my favourites, Judica Illes. And the reason I like Judica Illes is because although she is a Wiccan, as far as I can make out, she is not what I call Wiccan biased in her books. She tends to be just a witch or just a pagan. And I like that. She's very accessible. So yeah, but my favourites would have to be The Good Ghost Guide, The English Year, and The Old Wives' Tales, because it's got remedies in it, which is that one there. Those are probably the 3 books that are my favourite, and they all are connected to my spiritual practice. At number 10, what was your first altar setup? If I remember correctly, it was an old blanket box that I painted, and I had a wooden bowl and 2 wooden candlesticks with candles in it. That was my first altar setup, because I don't really do altars. Your first altar tool you bought or received would have been my box, because I painted it myself. I didn't buy it, I got it from a junkyard, and the paint was just leftover bits that I'd asked people for, so it didn't cost me anything except for a bit of time. So it would be my altar. If you want an actual tool, it would be my bowling. That was the first tool that I bought. Do you have a book of shadows? Describe it. I do not have a book of shadows, but I do have a grimoire. I don't call it a book of shadows because a book of shadows is a Wiccan thing as far as I'm concerned, but here is my book of shadows, if you want to call it that, my grimoire, and it is handmade. I made this myself, from the covers to the pages and everything in it, and it's got charms on the side. There's the binding, and it's all charms and witchcraft charms in a loads of stuff. Inside, we are in flux at the moment because I am changing my book of shadows. I'm taking a lot of pages out. Inside there is my artwork, there is a lot of my poems, there is one of my poems, there is my ramblings, in my own words, What is a Witch, Pagan Musings. I think everyone should read Pagan Musings. It may be old, but it's still relevant. I have the Wheel of the Year. I have things about Sabbats and Esbats, Elements, Pentacle, and I have a few spells. Then I have an awful lot on herbs and trees. My tree pages, I think, are my favourites. If I can find a tree page. Oh. This is my page on, is that all elder? Let's try and find a page. There you go. Field maple and hawthorn. There, see, this is what my book of shadows is like. Da 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 da. If you want to call it that, it's a book of shadows. There we go. But yeah, whilst I was running out of space here because the dog's in my chair. Whilst I was tidying up last week, I came across this. and it's just an old file box. And inside this old file box was my original writings. And it's all printed out because I don't write anything by hand because it hurts too much. So everything was printed out and put on into these little plastic folders. But yeah, this was, the spells in here are all my own. And it tells you all about all the different tools of the witch and everything. I may use these pages again. I can just easily cut them down, give them a bit of an inking up and place them in my new book of shadows, but we shall see. But I thought that was interesting that I found that. I also have my spell book. This is, and I've shown you this before, is just a few little spells that I write down. I also have this one, which I haven't used yet. This is slightly thicker. You see the pages are very dark. They are so heavily coffee stained, and I love that. This is another one that I made. And I also have this one, which is a leather book that I treated myself to. I think it's Titan Leather Crafts, and they send all over the world. They are leather, hand-bound books. This one was about £25, and inside the pages are made recycled from old paper and old clothes. So there we go, and it's all hand stamped. So that will be another book that I will use eventually. And this one, you can get them with like all hooks on. You can have custom made ones, all sorts, but I love this one. It's just plain black. They do some beautiful reds, greens, yellows, blues, purples, and like I said, for this size I thought it was a really good price. So I also have that, which I haven't used yet. So there you go. What content do you put in your book of shadows? Well, there you go. You've seen what content I put in my book of shadows. Everything. I am paring it down somewhat to things that are more relevant to me. So I will keep all my pages I have on herbs, on spell work, but I want a whole lot more about divination in there, and divination techniques that I do, some divination that I've done and readings that I've done, that will be going in there. Where do you keep your book of shadows? Not on the floor usually. It's usually on it's actually an easel stand upstairs in my craft room, because the cats like it there. Right, number 15. What do you do in your practice that is unique to you? I think we all do stuff in our practice that makes our practices unique, because most of us do base our paths and our practice on intuition, and I think that's what makes us unique anyway. I mean, I do, maybe the way I cast spells, it is unique to me. Like I say, I do a lot of gathering the storm and spell breath, that sort of thing. But that's not unique to me. Probably the way I do it, maybe, I think the way you gather energy is quite unique to the person, because everyone feels and sees energy in a unique way anyway. So, number 16, top 5 crystals, herbs, oils, and why? Why? Okay, top favourite crystals. My favourite is probably amber, which isn't a crystal. Amethyst was always my favourite when I was growing up, and opals. I love opals. Herbs. So many. I don't think I've got 5 favourite. I mean, I love patchouli, proper real patchouli, not the scented patchouli, but patchouli root and patchouli plant dried, because the smell is amazing. It's completely different to all this fragranced patchouli stuff. You got royal patchouli is, oh, it's out of this world. Dragon's blood, of course. One of my favourites is this one, bergamot. Bergamot, because there's just something about the smell of bergamot. In my oils, that is one of my favourites. I love citronella because I like anything that's citrusy. Vanilla, I love. Juniper. It's another herb I like. Belladonna. I could go on for ages. I'm going to leave it at that because there's just so many that I absolutely love. Favourite item of witchy clothing or jewellery and why? My favourite item was jewellery. I had this pentacle with an amethyst in the centre, and it was the first pentacle I bought. Well, my husband bought it for me many years ago, and in the last few years I've lost it, and I really miss it. That was my favourite, I think. My favourite item of clothing has to be my cloak. It's just a black velvet cloak. It's all lined and everything, and it's beautiful, and I love it. Just because I like it. Okay, what is your familiar or animal spirit guide? I don't actually have one in the traditional sense of familiar. I'm quite so actually the door's closed, which is why I shouldn't be surprised, but usually when my grimoire is out, my cat Coco sit on my grimoire. She loves it. If I'm blending herbs, it's Kitty who comes. However, I do have another cat that does help me out quite a bit. She's very much a comfort to me. Her name is Miss Violet, and she died in my arms when she was 2 days before her 2nd birthday. And oh, I love that cat so much. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my cats anyway. But yeah, she died, and I still see her, and she's still there. If I know when I'm getting really down because I see her playing in the garden and all sorts. We won't go into that. Number 19, do you prefer to do ritual work outdoors or indoors? I don't do ritual work. Well, I suppose you could say everything that you do is a ritual anyway. And it really depends on what I'm doing. When I'm planting in the garden, that's a ritual for me, and obviously I love to do that outdoors because I don't want to do it indoors. If I'm cooking something or making a potion, you know, mixing herbs, blending herbs, then I tend to do that indoors. So that I don't really have a preference. We are on to the last question, people. Question 20. What do you... So I've written out the questions, which is my handwriting. So what do you use to represent the 4 elements in your ritual work? Once again, don't do ritual work. When I used to need something to represent the 4 elements, I had the obvious. I had either incense or a feather. I had my brain's gone. A candle. I had water, and I had dirt, sand or salt to represent earth, or soot. But I tend not to. I'm very good at, all I need is my imagination. The most important tool I've got is my intuition and then my imagination, so that I can get things right in my head and then just use energy to, you know, get things done. So there you go, 20 questions. But you wish you'd never clicked play on this one now. So there you go. So like I said, I will link below. I will also link Titan Leather Crafts below as well. I have linked them before. Like I said, they post worldwide. Oh. And there we go. I'm done for the night, very obviously. Thank you for watching, witchy people. I will be back very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.